and that was an allegory for the reign or the life or something of Queen Elizabeth the First back in the 1600s. I guess that, no, not the 1600s, the 1500s. So that would be the 16th century. I always have to like stop and think about stuff like that. So an allegory refers is a series of events or even just a character in a book that refers to actual events in the quote unquote real world. I suppose at some point one could go, you know what? This Taylor Swift song is an allegory for this Taylor Swift relationship. Actually, people do it all the time, but there you are. so, so that's all it is. It's something within a work of literature that references directly or indirectly, well, usually indirectly, real world events. And I'm going to try and do a segue. This is really bad. And the process of referring to those events is called allusion. That's not actually how it's pronounced, but that's how it's spelled. It's spelled with an A. It's actually pronounced allusion, or allude, and it's spelled with an A. A-L-L-U-I, or A, how do I spell this? A-L-L-U-S-I-O-N. Okay, sorry. I just started on a new medication a few days ago, and it's not making me back crap crazy, but it's, my brain's sort of like readjusting to like, oh, hey, we can actually think again. And so it's weird. But allusion is something within a work of literature that, like, when we use allusion as a noun, that is something within a work of literature that harkens either to another work of literature or to something in the real world. Or even to something within the story, which actually you might call that foreshadowing. But anyways, so when we look, for example, one day I'll probably do the Wizard of Oz, cover the Wizard of Oz on this show. Not anytime soon. I've sort of got some ideas about what we're going to cover right now. We can talk about how the Yellow Brick Road alludes to something or another, because I don't know. Or that the silver slippers, actually, in the book, they're not ruby slippers. They changed it to ruby slippers for the movie because red pops more in Technicolor, which actually, believe it or not, the Wizard of Oz movie, fun fact, random fact, the Wizard of Oz movie in 1939 was not actually filmed in Technicolor. It was actually filmed in sepia tone, because you had the black and white sequence at the beginning, and then it goes into color. So they did it in sepia tone because it's easier to transition between the kind of gray, black and white dullness and to color and then back again. So, anyways, but yes, in the original L. Frank Baum book, it was silver slippers, and so that could be a reference to, I forget what it was actually called at the time. It was this idea of expanding the Treasury to the U.S. Treasury to not just be about, trading currency in gold or measuring currency by gold, but silver as well. So, anyways, back to allusions. But that's what allusions are. Is they refer to other works of literature, other things in the real world, or other even other parts of within that story. I'm currently rereading, spoiler alert, I was kind of going to make this a surprise, but whatever. I'm currently rereading American Gods by Neil Gaiman for this show. And if you haven't read it, it involves a lot of gods from various ancient theologies around the world. Most people call it mythology, but this was, like, for example, Norse, quote unquote, mythology. The Norse truly believed that was their religion, therefore it was their theology. That's like if somebody came up to me, I'm Catholic, and they said, "Oh yeah, I really like your Christian mythology." I'd be kind of irked. So anyways, so there's a lot of allusions to various theologies, ancient theologies from around the world, notably the Norse. So you have references to Odin and some of the things that he's done, and it's really good. We'll get into that in a few weeks. But that's what allusion is. I hope that makes sense. Again, it's spelled Allusion. It's like illusion, only with an A. That's why I say allusion, to avoid confusion. And that rhymed. I didn't mean it to. But that's awesome. Finally. The last thing I want to make sure to define, and this is almost self-explanatory, but I want to make sure that we're all on the same page with regards to this endeavor, I guess you could say. And that final word is imagery. What is imagery? It is descriptive language that creates an image. So when an author takes time to describe what a person is wearing, or what a mountain looks like, or how a room is set up and decorated, that is all language related to imagery. And I probably should have put imagery in with figurative language, but it didn't feel right. So, but as I said, imagery seems really self-explanatory. It's language that creates an imagery. There you go. So, there you are. Hopefully, I don't think of any more terms to add to this list in the meantime. So if I do think of any other term that needs to be defined while we're studying, examining, enjoying literature on this show, I guess I'll just have to define it as I go. So, if you would like to follow me on social media, my username is PurpleBecca923. That's PurpleBecca 923. And you can find me with that username on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. You can email me at purplebubblespace@gmail.com. My website, I need to get a domain name for this because this is just freaking ridiculous. I'm going to say this whole thing. purplebubblespace.simdiff.com. There are links to all of this on my Spreaker profile. And until next time, remember that education is fresh. So go out there and fly with the penguins. Talk to y'all later.